It was a scrap, but in the end, the Sunrisers Hyderabad had enough calm heads and international experience to prevail over the Royal Challengers Bangalore. You're watching another episode of End of Days Play, and this is Uninvited Opinions. Let's take a quick look at the scorecard today. So, Sunrisers won the toss, inserted the Royal Challengers to bat first. Royal Challengers supporters have been crying out for their team to play bold. Sadly, that still didn't happen today with their batting. They really struggled to get any momentum going. Really, it was only AB de Villiers with a half century and Aaron Finch with a useful 30 odd, which lent any sort of credibility to the RCB total. But RCB reached a subpar 131 in their 20 overs. The Sunrisers bowlers were bang on the money as always. Jason Holder took 3 wickets and was very ably supported by Natarajan and Shahbaz Nadeem, as well as Rashid Khan and Sandeep Sharma, even though they didn't take any wickets. In response, Sunrisers also had a bit of a wobble at the start, but they had King Kane to shepherd the chase. And in the company of Manish Pandey to start with, and then Jason Holder, he showed why he's so highly rated in the international circuit and saw Sunrisers home with a couple of balls to spare. For RCB, it was again a good bowling effort, but they didn't have enough runs to play with. Siraj bowled well, as did Zampa and Yuji Chahal, but unfortunately, they had too few runs to defend. In the end, even though it looked tight, Sunrisers were always in control and won comfortably. Nags, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think the final line that you said precisely sums up the match, actually. Although the match appears to be a close affair, the kind of outcome was clear to most of us at the end of the first innings itself, where RCB were restricted to a subpar total. Yes, Sunrisers always have had their bowling as their stronger suit, and despite losing their big guns and their spearhead in Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and they've had other injury setbacks in the form of Mitchell Marsh and Vijay Shankar more lately. They just seem to just back performances after performances where big hitting lineups just don't manage to get any rhythm or momentum against their nibbly bowling attack. So it was perfectly going as per script. And although there was probably a period of 2 or 3 overs where AB de Villiers threatened to take the game away from them, it was again restricted very nicely. And as a bowling unit, they must have been very satisfied restricting RCB to just 131.
Absolutely. Jason Holder is such an inspired signing for Sunrisers Hyderabad. He was signed as a replacement for Mitchell Marsh, came in, couldn't play the first few games because he was in quarantine. And then once he's been selected, he's produced some stellar performances for the team. Again, he was among the pick of the bowlers today, taking 3 wickets. Natarajan, even though he went for a few runs in his last over, that Yorker to get rid of AB de Villiers just when AB could have exploded was a sight to behold. And as usual, again, Shahbaz Nadeem, another game where he's sort of gone under the radar, but he was very canny, kept things tight, and took the crucial wicket of Aaron Finch when it felt that Finch and de Villiers might put on, a huge partnership for RCB. What do you think has been RCB's main problem with their batting this season?
Oh, there isn't any specific single point where you can just point your finger and say, okay, fix this and everything will be resolved. The problem has been something to do with more of the mental aspect than their actual technique or their strategy. They have the players. I was actually very happy to see Moin Ali in the starting 11 today because I felt he was going to lend them that much needed stability with both the bat and the ball. And he has the big hitting prowess to support AB de Villiers and to free him up to some extent. But somehow, for whatever reasons, the big names such as Aaron Finch, Moin Ali have just not come to the party. Aaron Finch has been among the runs, but all through the tournament, he has looked scratchy. And it was again exhibited today where he was just jumping all over the place in his first few balls. Virat Kohli actually took the brave move of moving up the order, and that freed up an overseas spot of Josh Philippe. But again, the discipline in the Sunrisers bowling meant that a kind of two-paced wicket and the first opportunity provided itself was pounced upon, and Virat Kohli and Devdutt Padikkal could not get going. So that has been probably the trend. Haven't been enough continuity in their batting in the playing 11, and that has meant that the people who are coming in do not have necessarily the confidence to go out and play their natural game. There is always a fear of probably being dropped. This is just my assessment. It may not be the case, but I can't quite explain why such big names who do well on a regular basis for their respective national sides somehow just don't gel together when they play for RCB.
I think beyond the top four, they don't have any real quality in the late order in terms of late order hitting or finishing. Chris Morris is someone who can provide that late order hitting impact, but he's been unavailable due to injury this for large parts of this season, and they really need to find maybe an Indian late order hitter who's consistent and can provide useful maybe a 30-run contributions consistently. Shivam Dubey and Gurkeerat Mann, I don't think are currently are filling that hole. So for once, I actually got the impression this IPL that RCB have actually moved from a batting side to actually a bowling side, and bowling has become this strength. And they proved that today with with the way they fought in the field. They really made it, I wouldn't say very hard for Sunrisers, but they certainly made it difficult. They certainly created some tense moments, picking up wickets at the right time. Zampa and Chahal in particular, they were very, tight with their lines and lengths. They sort of tried to build pressure by bowling consecutive dot balls. And when Manish Pandey fell, everyone started going back to the Kings 11 game where Sunrisers bottled the chase. But then today you had King Kane in fantastic form. He shepherded the chase very well, soaked up the pressure early on. And then just when he needed to, he brought out those big, sweep shots, to get those sixes and keep the run rate under check. And then in Jason Holder, he had the company of another batsman who is a capable batsman, who is not just capable of getting the singles, but also capable of the big hits when it's needed. And in the end, they saw them through quite comfortably.
Indeed, I think every ounce of experience in that batting lineup with those two international captains in their playing 11 was needed today, because it was actually getting close to a stage where they could have actually let this chase slip as well. This actually reminds all the remaining people in their batting lineup to carry their weight in the team. Manish Pandey, time and again, has been making those pretty 20s and 30s. Today, it was required that he probably saw through a couple of overs. He could have slowed down a little bit, but he needed to bat through. Um, Priyam Garg had a beautiful opportunity. Yes, he must have felt like being thrown into the deep end with the team needing some kind of a partnership along with Kane Williamson. But frankly, it was a subpar total. So really, the run rate pressure wasn't as much. So he could have probably taken his time and seen his team through. So these are the opportunities which present themselves to showcase your talent and your mental fortitude. So I feel these youngsters must take this as missed opportunities and should take the lessons going forward, because not every game you're going to have these steady heads steering you through.
Kane Williamson was the choice for the player of the match. Would you have gone for Jason Holder instead?
Very tough choice, given that Jason Holder had actually taken 3 wickets and a very frugal spell with the ball and just ably supported Ken Williamson in that partnership. It was very difficult to separate the two. Obviously, Williamson got that required momentum with those big shots when needed. So tough to choose. I'm okay either ways, I think.
Yeah, likewise. I could have. If I was the adjudicator, I would have awarded them the joint men of the match.
Just to cast our mind back to the game where we had 2 free hits, one in each innings. Obviously, the first one being more comical, where Moeen Ali unfortunately happened to be run out of the free hit. But the second one in the RCB bowling innings was an interesting event, which learning for me as a follower of this game, where AB de Villiers accidentally happened to disturb the bails when Washington Sundar was bowling. And after a discussion with the third umpires, the on-field umpires awarded that as a free hit. I know that if, as a bowler, in your bowling stride, if you disturb the bails at the non-striker's end, it is awarded as a no ball. But this was a first of its kind. And I felt this rule is kind of weighed against the bowler. For no fault of the bowler is a free hit being awarded. And the bowler's figures can actually take a battering for no fault of his.
I'm a bowler at heart, and I always feel that the game is loaded against the bowlers rather than and in favor of the batsmen. So, right. So today's win means that Sunrisers Hyderabad are going to be playing the Delhi Capitals in the second qualifier. And are you going to be brave enough to bet against Hyderabad winning that one as well?
It's hard to bet against the form team, and considering that they are going to be playing a completely deflated Delhi Capitals unit. I'm sure Delhi Capitals will try to come and showcase some form of a performance, because this is probably the last roll of the dice. They have to get their act together, but it's very difficult to look beyond this Sunrisers side.
And the game is going to be played again at Abu Dhabi, and Delhi haven't been very successful there. So on current form, I favor Sunrisers as well. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. And as always, we'll see you again in a couple of days. Until then, stay safe.